Hey, I'm making a video for you guys that have coilovers in your Maxima and how to adjust them so the ride is stiff, but it's not harsh. Like, meaning that when you go over bumps, it's not going to bang hard over bumps. It'll be a very, comfortable ride. I have Megan Racing coilovers. Unfortunately, I blew one of my shocks. As you can see, there's a lot of oil around this part, so I gotta get a new shock. It really sucks. And I had to also get another pillow bowl because the pillow bowl bearing has a lot of play in it up here. Like, you could actually move it up and down on this one versus this one where it doesn't move up and down. You see? It doesn't make no noise like the other one does. Now, first things first, I want to show you guys about the camber. Now, when you put the coilovers on, this would be the passenger side coilover. This is the way it would sit on the shock, just like that. And this is the way it would bolt up to the tower. Now, you have these camber bolts over here, right? So, I was getting a lot of camber wear on my front tires because they were. Let me see if I can hold this shit on record. The plate was all the way on this side. So I loosened up these bolts and moved the plate more to the left, so it reduces camber as much as possible because, tires are expensive, so you don't want to go through tires like you go through your underwear. And yeah, just loosen up these bolts and move the camber plates to the left to reduce the camber. This is the damper. Everyone knows what damper is. These coilovers have a 32-way adjustable damper, so they should click 32 times. I had mine set to about 20, 22, around there. I don't like having a car that has no play in the suspension, and it feels like you're driving a tractor. But let me just show you guys real quick how to grease these things up. I'm going to post a picture of the grease that I use, but I'm going to just give you an example of WD-40. WD-40 is good, but it's not the best because it doesn't last too long. Is this the broken one? No. Yeah, it doesn't last too long, so it's not the best way to grease it. The stuff I use is the anti-seize grease. It's like a red little bottle. I'll post a picture of it later. I usually put some around here. Also do it around this area and around where the spring hits this little piece of plastic right here, and also on the bottom over here. I also try to grease up the threads because when you're moving the, what do you call these things? I don't know, I forgot what you call them, but when you're moving, actually the rings, yeah, when you're moving the rings up and down, you want to make sure the threads are they don't have little pebbles in there and whatnot, so they move freely, because, if they're not moving freely through here, then you're going to misthread one of these rings, and then just to take the coilover off, just change a ring doesn't make sense, it's better to avoid these things before they happen. And, yeah, like I said, just, grease up these little rings right here, a little piece of plastic right there. Megan Racing and BC's actually put these to eliminate a popping noise that coilovers make on front-wheel drive cars. Like when your car is parked, you turn the steering wheel all the way to the right or all the way to the left. Once in a while, they'll make a popping noise. But the way I adjusted mine actually reduced that noise significantly. Let me just show you guys the spring load. This is the most important part of coilovers, is the spring load. If you get your spring load wrong, your car is going to drive like shit. So, yeah, people say, yeah, I go over bumps and my car bangs really hard. This is the reason why, because your spring load is not adjusted properly. Some people think they do it right, but they really don't. So I'm going to just show you guys how I did it. When I measure spring load, put a tape measure on the top red ring over here. So it's the spring, the little plastic ring, and then it's a red the red metal ring right there. Put the tape measure up there, and then I usually go 7 inches. I don't know if you can see that. I do a 7-inch spring load from the top of the red to the black plastic ring. 7-inch spring load, and I feel like this is the most comfortable ride because of the fact that it gives the shock a lot less. It puts a lot less pressure on the shock, I meant to say, and you know it'll help your coilovers last a lot longer. Because people say, "Oh, my coilovers suck; they blew out after a while." Well, this is the reason why. Because you probably have your spring really loose, and maybe you can move it around with your hand. This spring, you're not supposed to be able to move with your hands. Like, when you have spring load on, this thing cannot move freely at all. So, I have about another, what is it, inch drop I could do? Yeah, I have like about 1.5 inches left to lower my car. But the way I have it set right now, my fender sits a little bit like right on top of my tire, so it sits pretty low. And I had these coilovers for a really long time, and yeah, like I said, this is pretty much the best way to do it. Just set your spring loads at 7 inches. Once you set it to 7 inches, exactly 7 inches, they should be both on 7 inches. Yeah, this one's a little off because this is the one I actually fucked up. This one's a little off. Yeah, once you have it set to 7 inches, then you don't touch this anymore. All you got to do is loosen up the bottom ring, and then with the spring, you should be able to like turn the shock into the boot, no problem. So that's pretty much it. Damper, have my if your coilover is 32-way adjustable, I don't recommend putting it anything higher than 25. Because you just be putting more pressure on your shocks, and I'm pretty sure when people buy coilovers, you don't want to only have them for like a year or two. Like, I've had these for like 3 years now. I put at least 50,000, 60,000 miles in these coilovers, and I only had a problem with one of them. Only one of them broke, so you know I must know what I'm doing. And the only reason why it broke is because I hit a hole in the earth, and that hole was ridiculous. And I thought I broke much more. I was just happy that I only broke a coilover. So I actually called up Megan Racing, and I'm getting a replacement shock with a replacement pillow bowl bearing. So I should be back in action in a couple of days. It's about $140 for both pieces. You know, and the awesome part about these coilovers is that you can take them apart yourself. You know, you just unscrew this piece, unbolt that, the whole thing comes apart, and in literally about less than 20 minutes, less than 15-20 minutes. So it's not rocket science. That's pretty much it. Just make sure you try to keep your threads clean before you move them. I always spray them with WD-40. WD-40 is good to it's a temporary lubrication. WD-40 is nothing permanent. And like I said, I'll post a picture of that lube I use for my coilovers. It's a really good lubrication. It stops that popping noise, and definitely the spring load. The 7-inch spring load is definitely what I recommend. And if you do it and you're not happy, by all means, you could curse my life away. But I'm pretty sure you guys would be very happy with a 7-inch spring load, and you will have your coilovers for a really long time, unless you hit a hole that you can stick your whole head into, like I did. So that's pretty much it. Megan Racing coilovers, love these things. I can't wait to get the parts and to put them back on. So, oh yeah, my car's over there somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Alright. That's it, guys. Hopefully this was helpful, and let me know what's up. Thanks.